Good morning, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. We are jumping on the air because President Trump is holding his first cabinet meeting, which is not something normally we'd cover necessarily, but they're supposed to have some live video of it. I don't know what this live video is. The press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, said, "Tune in." So there's supposed to be some sort of live video of the cabinet meeting. I don't know how long it's going to be. I assume it's going to be longer than like 30 seconds because I don't know why the press secretary would say tune in if they didn't intend to have some sort of live video. Maybe they'll do some public presentation and then they'll, do the private meeting. I don't know. Elon Musk is supposed to be there, but it sounds like my best guess is they'll be doing some non-insignificant, some somewhat significant live presentation. So we're going to show it to you. Could be a short stream. We'll see. We'll take your comments on it. But should be interesting. So again, I don't know how long it's going to be, but this is something that the White House is showing. So as soon as I should be getting some video here shortly, and as soon as I do, I'm going to throw it on the screen. It's supposed to start now, but I mean I wouldn't be surprised if it starts a little late. Anyways, so we'll see what it is. So I just thought it'd be interesting video to check out. But when I saw that the White House press secretary was promoting it, I was like, okay, they're making some sort of deal out of this. So I'll actually tell you what she said about it. The White House press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, she posted on her X account saying, President Trump's all-star cabinet and Elon Musk will meet at the White House for the first time today. All of these exceptional men and women are bold leaders who are committed to disrupting Washington and delivering on the president's America First agenda. Then she said, tune in at 11 a.m. That's what she said, tune in at 11 a.m. So they're promising some sort of live video. So we'll check it out. We'll check it out and we'll see what it is. If it's a short stream, it's a short stream. Thank you to PZ Papa Zulu for the gift membership. So nice of you. Thanks to our member, David Leonard Bloodstrike. Hey, also thanks to our moderators. We have, I don't have live video yet. They haven't gone live yet. Let me just make sure. No, it's not live yet. Thanks to our moderators, Ruth Krafasi is moderating on YouTube, Sabrina Beth Mythical Carms, thank you. Over there on X, Linda Belk, Larry, Misha, on Facebook. Hold on a second here. Oopsie. Hold on. Give me a second here. I have to do something just to prepare this. Just to prepare this, I need to do something. So give me one moment. Let's see. No, that's not what I want to do. Hang on. Hang on. I got it. Okay. There, I'm ready with that one. I'm just getting ready to show you this. So hang on, hang tight for one sec. I realized there was something I needed to do before so I could show it to you. All right, how about this one? All right, that's better. That is better. And then where is... Okay, good. Okay, so that's good to go there. Oh, I know what I just did. Sorry, I'm just setting everything up here. I'm just setting everything up so I can show you this. So if you give me 2 seconds here, give me 2 seconds. And I'll be good to go. Thanks for your patience. Okay. We should be good. We should be good. Last thing I got to do is do this. Last thing. Source to. All right, I think we're ready. I think we're ready. Okay. All right. The live video has not started yet. Thanks for your patience while I did that. I realized it was something I had to do so we could show you the live video. So again, and I was thanking our moderators as I rushed on the air to get on time for this. Thank you to our moderators. Also on Twitch, we have a Moment of Lovely. I got that fire in Surly Dev. And thanks to our Facebook moderators as well, Kay Lowry Body. Hold on. All of our moderators, thank you so much for being there. I really appreciate it. Okay, so again, it's the first Trump cabinet meeting, which again, normally I wouldn't cover a cabinet meeting, but the White House is saying there's going to be some live video from it. So we're going to show you the live video. I don't have any live video yet, but the White House said tune in. Tune in at 11 a.m. It's after 11 a.m., but it's not live yet. So they're going to do some kind of live thing from this cabinet meeting, and we're going to show it to you. All right? Okay. So waiting for that. I have my eyes on it. I have my eyes on it. As soon as I see anything, I will let you know, and we'll put it on the screen. Another story I want to mention is a person has died in Texas in the Texas measles outbreak. According to NBC News, this is the first measles death in the U.S. in a decade. That's what NBC News says. It's the first measles death in the U.S. in a decade. Hold on a second here. So I'm going to keep an eye on that as well. We could do a stream on that at some point. I'm not sure. We'll see. Oh, I think I have an update about that. Yes, I do. Texas Department of Health and Human Services, as we wait for this cabinet meeting to start, posted something about it. Hang on. Hang on. I have it right here. Give me a moment. Okay. The school-aged child was not vaccinated. The school-aged child was not vaccinated. Wow. I'm looking at it right now. It says, I'm looking at the announcement from the Texas Health Department. First death from the ongoing outbreak. The school-aged child who was not vaccinated was hospitalized in Lubbock last week and tested positive for measles. Okay, so that's a new report. That's from the Texas Department of Health, guys. All right, I'm going to show you that. Hold on, I'm just waiting for I'm also waiting for the cabinet meeting to start. There's no video yet of the cabinet meeting. So while we're waiting for that to start, let me show you this about the Texas death of a school-aged child who was not vaccinated. Hang on. Here it is right here. Is this going to work? Whoa. What is... Oh, I know that. I know what that was. I know what that was. Condolences to the child's family. Okay. The Texas State Department of Health Services is reporting the first death from measles in the ongoing outbreak in the South Plains and Panhandle regions. The school-aged child who was not vaccinated was hospitalized in Lubbock last week and tested positive for measles. That's literally from the Texas Department of State Health Services. This was a school-aged child who was not vaccinated. As of yesterday, 124 cases of measles have been confirmed in the outbreak since late January. Most of the cases are in children. 18 people have been hospitalized. 5 of those cases are people who've been vaccinated. The rest are either unvaccinated or vaccination status unknown. And you can see it says down here that the measles vaccine is more than 97% effective. A small number of vaccinated people occasionally develop measles. In these cases, the symptoms are generally milder and they are less likely to spread the disease to other people. And the Texas Department of State Health Services says the best way to prevent getting sick is to be immunized with 2 doses of a measles-containing vaccine, which is primarily administered as the combination measles, mumps, rubella, or MMR vaccine. Okay. So, again, I'm waiting. This is breaking news that just came out a short time ago, which is why I'm mentioning it. And we might do it. We might do some separate coverage of this today. Certainly, condolences to the family of the child. The Texas Department of State Health Services also says measles is a highly contagious respiratory illness which can cause life-threatening illness to anyone who's not protected against the virus. During a measles outbreak, about 1 in 5 people who get sick will need hospital care, and about 1 in 20 will develop pneumonia. About 1 in 5 who get sick will need hospital care. Also, I saw yesterday, I was reading an article in the Austin, which was an Austin American Statesman article, which said, according to the CDC, if one person with measles walks into a room, 90% of the people there who are unvaccinated or do not have natural immunity will become infected. It's very contagious. Yeah, I'm reading it on the CDC site. If one person has it, up to 9 out of 10 people nearby will become infected if they are not protected. All right, so we're going to keep an eye on this. And again, maybe we'll do coverage of it later. But I just wanted to keep you updated on that because that's some breaking news. But we're here to cover the cabinet meeting, which was supposed to start at 11 and hasn't started yet. It's now 11:14. And there is going to be live video from this cabinet meeting. I'm going to take some comments from you guys. But any moment now we should have the cabinet meeting video, live video. And I guess she said tune in at 11 a.m., which suggests to me it'll be live. No, I know there's press there, so it should be live. By the way, another quick thing I wanted to mention. I've seen this report about in several places. Josh Wingrove with Bloomberg reported that the U.S. is in talks with 3 to 4 countries to buy 70 to 100 million eggs as part of a plan to address the egg shortage and avian flu outbreak, according to the Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins. Again, the Agricultural Secretary says the U.S. is in talks with 3 to 4 unspecified countries to buy 70 to 100 million eggs to address the shortage and avian flu outbreak. That's according to the Agricultural Secretary. That's according to Josh Wingrove of Bloomberg. Hang on. You can see here's something about the cabinet meeting. I'll show you. Musk to attend Trump cabinet meeting as workers brace for more uncertainty. He will be there. I wouldn't be surprised if he speaks on the video. Elon Musk, the billionaire advisor tasked with radically downsizing the U.S. government, will attend President Trump's first cabinet meeting today as turmoil continues to swirl around his plans to fire federal workers. Musk is not a cabinet officer, but no one in the president's circle has wielded more influence in Trump's early weeks. So he will be there. Again, any moment now, we will have video from the cabinet meeting. All right, let me take some comments from you guys. Sorry, I had to rush on the air. I didn't know they were going to have live video of the meeting like this, at least some of the meeting. So let me take some comments from you guys. Our viewer Our viewer Brazel says it's weird people are assuming the child who died of measles in Texas was an immigrant. Everywhere else in the world requires measles vaccinations, and any immigrant child is most likely vaccinated. So I can't speak to the likelihood of an immigrant child being vaccinated. I don't know. It's a good question. But what I will say is I am not aware that the child has been identified yet. Just a short while ago, as I shared with you, the Texas Department of Health said the person who died in Texas, the first death from measles in the U.S. in a decade, was a school-aged child who had not been vaccinated. I am not aware of I don't know anything else about that child. If I hear anything else, I'll let you know. Thank you, AK, who says, thoughts about Trump Gaza video on Instagram. You know, I haven't seen it. I saw some headline about it, and it was a little unclear to me. I didn't really get into it. It's something I meant to look at, so I'll see if I can find something about it. But he reposted a video. I don't know that he made the video. I think he posted it on his Truth Social too. I don't have the rights to show it. All right, I'm looking at it right now. 11 hours ago, there's a video posted on his Truth Social that says Gaza 2025, what's next? And it shows people, it shows like a wonderful, it looks like an AI video. Elon Musk eating stuff, people on the beach, lots of beach hotels and stuff. Yeah, so money raining down from the sky. It's a hotel that says Trump Gaza. It looks to me like he just, I don't think the White House made this video. It looks to me like he sometimes reposts memes on his own account. Then at the end, there's a giant golden statue of him. You can go to his True Social and see it. So yeah, I don't, I'm not going to read much into it. I don't read much into when he posts a meme on his social media. He has said what he wants to happen with Gaza, which is that the U.S. develops it and then all of the Palestinians who live there now leave. But him posting the meme video, AI video, doesn't suggest to me any kind of like huge change in policy or commitment to doing it. He could have just, he or somebody running his account with his approval could have posted it just because, they could have posted it because they thought it was funny. They could have posted it to emphasize his policy. They could have posted it as like a troll on people who disagree with him. So, that's my thought on it, is sometimes he does repost meme stuff. I could see how some people might be offended by it, but it's not the first time he would have posted what some would see as a controversial meme on his social media account. But thank you for mentioning it, AK. Also, thanks to Naomi Nocturnal, our member. All right, so to repeat what's going on, I kind of just skimmed through it. One of our viewers said there were bearded ladies on the beach. Again, I don't think the White House made the video. My guess is that somebody else made it, and he just, there was like there's a quick scene where there's women with beards or people with beards in like belly dancing outfits on the beach. So, again, my guess is that it's something that they found somewhere else and reposted, but I don't know. Maybe they made it themselves. I'm not sure. Okay, any moment now, we're supposed to have live video from the cabinet meeting. Now, maybe they're doing some sort of private meeting. I mean, I don't think they're going to televise the whole cabinet meeting. I would be shocked if they did that. But they're going to do some sort of live video from the meeting. As I mentioned, Carolyn Leavitt, the White House press secretary, posted about an hour ago, President Trump's all-star cabinet and Elon Musk will meet at the White House for the first time today. And she wrote, "Tune in at 11 a.m., which suggests there's going to be some sort of significant live video from the meeting. Oh, the JFK Library Foundation announced that all 5 of the JFK Library staff members who were let go last week have been reinstated. The JFK Library had shut down, I think one day last week, was it? When 5, as I believe as part of the federal worker firings, 5 workers were let go. But they have now been reinstated. Oh, the library closed last week after the sudden firing of 5 workers amid, WBUR says this was amid the Trump administration's dismissal of employees on probation. But they have been reinstated now, according to the library. Why, I have no idea. So just passing that along. All right. We're still waiting. Again, the cabinet meeting was supposed to start at 11. Maybe it's it was supposed to start broadcasting at 11, to be clear. That very well might be going on right now. But we're here to bring you live coverage. You can also write to me on X at Lookner. Thank you, Urs Wiesendanger, for your support. Urs says, Gucci Gaza Riviera, simply one of Donald's crazy mind spins. Murph, thank you, Murph, who says, ignore the stupid video, just another distraction. So we're waiting for the live video for the cabinet meeting. We will have that for you. When it starts. Hang on one moment here. One moment here. I believe Trump is also scheduled to sign more executive orders today, although I don't know what those are going to be. Oh, also, while I have a second, we should update you with this. So, about the deal with Ukraine, between Ukraine and the U.S., as we wait for the live video for the cabinet meeting. Ukraine's Zelensky says framework economic deal with U.S. is ready, but security guarantees undecided. Zelensky is supposed to come to the U.S., I believe, on Friday. You can see AP says a framework economic deal with the U.S. is ready, Ukrainian President Zelensky said today, but U.S. security guarantees that Ukraine views as vital for its war with Russia remain to be decided, and a full agreement could hinge on talks in Washington as early as Friday. So what I've seen reported is that the United States and Ukraine have agreed on a framework for a deal, but it sounds like the actual deal hasn't been agreed on yet. The agreed upon framework deal is a preliminary step towards a comprehensive agreement that will be subject to ratification by Ukraine's parliament, Zelensky said today. Ukraine needs to know first where the United States stands on its continued military support, Zelensky said. He said he expects to have a wide-ranging conversation with U.S. President Trump during a visit to Washington. Since returning to office, Trump let Ukraine know he wanted something in return for tens of billions of dollars in U.S. help to fend off the full-scale invasion that Russia launched just over 3 years ago. The agreement, seen by the Associated Press, says the U.S. supports Ukraine's efforts to obtain security guarantees needed to establish lasting peace. Participants will seek to identify any necessary steps to protect mutual investments as defined in the agreement, it says. A White House official made clear on today, after Zelensky spoke, that accepting the agreement was a necessary precondition of Trump's invitation to Zelensky to meet on Friday. Zelensky said the main topics he wants to discuss with Trump are whether the U.S. plans to halt military aid, and if so, whether Ukraine would be able to purchase weapons directly from the U.S. He also wants to know whether Ukraine can use frozen Russian assets for the purchase of weapons and investments, and whether Washington plans to lift sanctions on Russia. The Ukrainian Prime Minister confirmed the Ukraine and U.S. have reached a preliminary agreement on a broad economic deal that includes U.S. access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals. All right, so they have not reached a full agreement on this deal that would give the U.S. access to some sort of access to Ukrainian minerals. Austin Batman says hopefully this deal will quickly lead to peace in Ukraine. Maybe on Friday there'll be a Zelensky-Trump news conference. If so, we'll cover it. But just to be clear, this reporting says, and from what Zelensky himself said today, there's no complete agreement on a deal yet. When is Trump going to meet Putin, said Evelyn in Maine. That I do not know. Melissa Garcia says Zelensky is going to find out Trump is not someone to be played with. Zelensky is playing games with the mineral rights. He's about to find out. Wall Street says apparently the U.S. removed the $500 billion tax on the agreement. Douthis thinks it is in the best interest of Ukraine to have a mineral deal, as it gives America another vested interest to make sure that Ukraine still exists. Billy Joe says Ukraine should not trust any deal that Trump makes. Superman Lova says a concept of a deal. MC White Noise says, will Russia be okay with the U.S. taking minerals they feel are on their land? John Parsons thinks he will not get any security details. What did John say? John retracted his message, so maybe John wants to change it, so I don't want to read it again. Something like that. So, again, it is 11:33. We're going to bring you some live video from the first Trump cabinet meeting. A little around this morning, not that long ago, the White House press secretary had posted, she posted this at 10:18. So a little over an hour ago, the White House press secretary said, tune in at 11 a.m. for the cabinet meeting. So it is now 11:34. So I'm sorry for the delay in the video, but as soon as they have the live video, we will show it. Lucia Horizo said, did you see the reports about the mystery disease outbreak in the Congo? WHO said 53 people have died so far and it kills within 48 hours of symptoms. It's not the hemorrhagic fever. You know, I saw something about it last night. Once in a while, these kind of new disease reports happen. And so I'm not going to assume that from this report that there's some like new COVID or something like that. I don't know. I'll try to see if I can quickly find some more details. But just for perspective on this, this kind of announcement where like there's a new disease in Africa and a bunch of people are getting seriously sick from it or dying, that does happen once in a while. So that doesn't mean there's like a new world, pandemic. But I'll see if I can find something quickly on it. Yeah, here's something from AP on it. A mystery illness in Congo has killed more than 50 people hours after they felt sick, which is not good, of course. These hemorrhagic fever symptoms are commonly linked to known deadly viruses such as Ebola, dengue, Marburg, and yellow fever, but researchers have ruled these out based on tests of more than a dozen samples collected so far. The outbreak began in the village of Boloko after 3 children ate a bat and died within 48 hours, said the Africa office of the World Health Organization. There have long been concerns about diseases jumping from animals to humans in places where wild animals are popularly eaten. The number of such outbreaks in Africa has surged by more than 60% in the last decade, said the WHO in 2022. Last year, another mystery flu-like illness that killed dozens of people in another part of Congo was determined likely to be malaria. So I'll keep an eye on it. The interval between the onset of symptoms and death has been 48 hours in most cases, said a medical expert there. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully it can be determined what it is and gotten under control. Thank you, Lucia, for writing in. We are waiting. Oh, hold on a second here. By the way, I just saw a report from White House reporter with RC Politics, Philip Melanchthon-Wegman, who said that the director of the Office of Management and Budget, VOT, has told federal agency heads in a new memo. Russell Vought with the OMB told federal agency heads in a new memo they have until March 13th, about 2 weeks from now, to file reduction in force plans. There could be more layoffs coming. Oh, I'm seeing this reported also elsewhere. Chris Majerian with AP says, the White House is setting the stage for a sweeping realignment of the federal government by directing agencies to eliminate positions. This new memo orders federal agencies to submit plans for reductions enforced by March 13th. The first step in the administration's plans. This targets workers with full civil service protections, not just probationary employees. That's from Chris Majerian with AP. So the initial layoffs have been focusing on probationary employees who have been there shorter than other employees, maybe up to a year or two, from what I understand, and also some employees who have recently switched their jobs. But the reporting suggests that the federal government, the Trump administration, is going to start firing people who are not probationary employees as the next step. The reporting I've seen multiple articles saying that the Trump administration started with probationary employees because they have less legal job protections. So that's something to keep an eye on. We are waiting for we're still waiting for the live video from the cabinet meeting, which we're supposed to have. Why am I seeing this? Here. Musk to attend Trump cabinet meeting as workers brace for more cuts. So who's going to be at this cabinet meeting? People like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, right? Pam Bondi, Elon Musk, the cabinet, Marco Rubio. Who knows what this video will look like? That's why I came on to cover it. I have no idea I think the video could be quite interesting. Jack Burton says they're probably doing the sensitive stuff first, then they're going to do the public stuff. Yeah, again, I didn't think, as I said before, they were going to show the whole cabinet meeting live. But given that the White House has promoted the live video of it, I think it's not going to be 30 seconds. Chris RD44 thinks Elon shouldn't be there. Julie S. thinks the federal job cuts are completely arbitrary and do not consider performance or actual need for the worker. Megatron says, my best friend has been in a probationary government position for a year. He just made the cut to avoid being fired. Yes, to be clear, as one of our viewers just explicitly said, Elon Musk is not technically a cabinet member. CRT said it. Another one of our viewers said it. Oh, hold on. We have some video. I have video. Hold on. I have some video for you. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. It's coming right now. It's right now. Here it is. It's just coming on right now. Hold on. Hang on a second. It's just about to start.
Let's see how it works.
Okay. I might switch streams in a second. Hang on.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate you being here, and we've put together a great cabinet, and we've had tremendous success. And we've been given a lot of credit for having a very successful first month, and we want to make that many months and years, actually.
We appreciate you being here.
We're going to have many good months, and we're going to have many good years, I hope, and we're going to solve a lot of problems. We're doing very well with Russia, Ukraine, having a very successful first month, and we want to make that many months and years, actually. But we're going to have many good months, and we're going to have many good years, I hope, and we're going to solve a lot of problems. We're doing very well with Russia, Ukraine. President Zelensky is going to be coming on Friday. That's now confirmed, and we're going to be signing an agreement, which will be a very big agreement. And I want to thank Howard and Scott for the job you guys did in putting it together. You really did an amazing job. And that'll be on rare earth and other things. And as you know, we're in for probably $350 billion. Europe is in for $100 billion. And that's a big difference. So we're in for probably 3 times as much, and yet it's very important to everybody, but Europe's very close. We have a big ocean separating us, so it's very important for Europe, and they hopefully will step up and do maybe more than they're doing, and maybe a lot more. The previous administration put us in a very bad position, but we've been able to make a deal where we're going to get our money back, and we're going to get a lot of money in the future, and I think that's appropriate because we have taxpayers that shouldn't be footing the bill, and they shouldn't be footing the bill at more than the Europeans are paying. So it's all been worked out. We're happy about it, and I think that very importantly, we're going to be able to make a deal. Most importantly, by far, we're going to make a deal with Russia and Ukraine to stop killing people. They'll stop killing young Russian soldiers and young Ukrainian soldiers and other people in addition in the towns and cities. And we will consider that a very important thing and a big accomplishment because it was going nowhere until this administration came in. They hadn't spoken to President Putin in 2 years. And so we'll keep you advised. Before we begin the cabinet, I'd like to have Scott and a couple of people say a few things, but most importantly, where are you?
Right here, sir.
This is a gentleman who's going places, the head of HUD, and he's going to say, you all know him, and you're going to say grace, and then we'll have our meeting, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this awesome privilege, Father, to be in your presence. God, thank you that you've allowed us to see this day. The Bible says that your mercies are new every morning. And Father God, we give you the glory and the honor. Thank you, God, for President Trump, Father, for appointing us. Father God, thank you for anointing us to do this job. Father, we pray you will give the President, the Vice President wisdom, Father God, as they lead. Father, I pray for all of my colleagues that are here around the table and in there, that we would lead with a righteous clarity. Father God, that as we serve the people of this country in every prospective agency, every job that we have, Father, we would humble ourselves before you and we would lead in the manner that you've called us to lead and to serve. Father, the Bible says that blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. Well, Father, we today honor you, and in your rightful place, Father, thank you for giving us this opportunity to restore faith in this country and be a blessing to the people of America. And Lord God, today in our meeting, we pray that you will be glorified in our conversation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Scott, that was a very good job you did. You've done that before, haven't you? Wow. So Scott Turner's a terrific young guy. He's heading up HUD, and he's going to make us all very proud, right?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Great job. In just over 1 month, illegal border crossings have plummeted by numbers that nobody's actually ever seen before. It's much more than 100%, and we've unleashed American energy at levels that will soon be reported, but we think we're going to get it going very quickly. We have incredible people on the energy front. I think we have really great people on every front. I'll let you know if they're not good, but I think they really are. And we're fighting every day to get the prices down. The inflation is stopping slowly. But part of the reason it's stopping is because of high interest rates and other problems that we inherited. But we have to get the prices down, not the inflation down, the prices of eggs and various other things. Eggs are a disaster. The Secretary of Agriculture is going to be showing you a chart that's actually mind-boggling what's happened, how low they were with us and how high they are now. but I think we can do something about it, Madam Secretary, and I think you're going to do a fantastic job in that position. One of the most important initiatives is DOGE, and we have cut billions and billions and billions of dollars. We're looking to get it maybe to $1 trillion. If we can do that, we're going to start getting to be at a point where we can think in terms of balancing budgets, believe it or not, something you haven't heard in many, many years, decades actually. And it's a big, whether it's this year or next year, I think we'll be very close to balancing budgets. And the DOGE is very important. And Elon is here to give you a summary of what's happening, some of the things they found, some of the horrible things they found, some of the theft and fraud, and we call it waste and abuse, but a lot of fraud, and probably some fraud that we're not going to be able to prove is fraud, but when you hear the names and the places where this money's going, it's a disgrace. But we've requested that a lot of people, we want to make sure that the people are working, so letters were sent out, and I think everyone at this table is very much behind it, and if they aren't, I'd want them to speak up, but they're very much behind it. Letters were sent out to people just to find out if the people exist. Do they work? Who do they work for? Where are they? You know, where have they been working? Have they been working for other companies or other entities at all? Or being paid by the government, so they have two jobs, but they're supposed to have one. And the letter asks some simple questions like, what have you done lately? And if they can answer that, because I can tell you everything I've done for the last long period of time, a lot more than a week. And in many cases, we haven't gotten responses. Usually that means that maybe that person doesn't exist, or that person doesn't want to say they're working for another company while being paid by the United States government. So there's a lot of interesting things. It's very unique, but we have a very unique situation because we have a lot of people that were scamming our country. We have a lot of dishonest people. We have a lot of people that took advantage of a lot of different situations, and we're not going to let that happen. So I'm going to ask if it's possible to have Elon get up first and talk about DOGE, because it seems to be of great interest to everyone. I will say that there is a large group of people in this country that have such admiration for what we're doing. I got elected with a tremendous vote, winning every swing state, winning the popular vote, winning the counties by thousands of counties. I think it was 2,800 to 500, 2,800 counties to 500 counties. Think of that. And so we have a mandate to do this, and this is part of the reason I got elected. I got elected based on taxes and based on many things in the border, but also based on balancing budgets and getting our country back into shape, and this is a big part of it. So Elon, if you could get up and explain where you are, how you're doing, and how much we're cutting, and it's an honor to have you. He's been a tremendously successful guy. He's really working so hard, and he's got businesses to run. And in many ways, they say, "How do you do this?" And you know, he's sacrificing a lot and getting a lot of praise, I'll tell you. But he's also getting hit, and we would expect that, and that's the way it works. So I'd like to have Elon Musk please say a few words.
Well,
thank you, Elon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I actually just call myself a humble tech support here, because this is actually, as crazy as it sounds, that is almost a literal description of the work that the DOGE team is doing, is helping fix the government computer systems. Many of these systems are extremely old. They don't communicate. There are a lot of mistakes in the systems. The software doesn't work. So we are actually tech support. It's ironic, but it's true. The overall goal here with the DOGE team is to help address the enormous deficit. We simply cannot sustain as a country $2 trillion deficits. The interest rates, just the interest on the national debt now exceeds the Defense Department spending. We spend a lot on the Defense Department, but we're spending like over $1 trillion on interest. If this continues, the country will become de facto bankrupt. It's not an optional thing, it is an essential thing. That's the reason I'm here. And taking a lot of flack, and getting a lot of death threats, by the way. I'm gonna like stack them up, you know. But if we don't do this, America will go bankrupt. That's why it has to be done. And I'm confident at this point, knock on wood, knock on my wooden head, there's got a lot of wood up there, that we can actually find $1 trillion in savings. That would be roughly 15% of the $7 trillion budget. And obviously that can only be done with the support of everyone in this room. And I'd like to thank everyone for your support. Thank you very much. This can only be done with your support. So it's really, DOGE is a support function for the President and for the agencies and departments to help achieve those savings and to effectively find 15% in reduction in fraud and waste. And we bring the receipts. So people say, like, well, is this real? Just go to doge.gov. We line item by line item, we specify each item. So, and I should say, we will make mistakes. We won't be perfect, but when we make a mistake, we'll fix it very quickly. So for example, with USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola, Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention. So we restored the Ebola prevention immediately, and there was no interruption. But we do need to move quickly if we're to achieve a $1 trillion deficit reduction in financial year 2026. It requires saving $4 billion per day, every day, from now through the end of September. But we can do it, and we will do it. Thank you.
Would you have any questions of Elon while we're on the subject of those? Because we'll finish off with that. And if you would have any questions, please ask. You could ask me or Elon. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Musk. I just wanted to ask you that President Trump put out a Truth Social today saying that everybody in the cabinet was happy with you. I just wondered if you had heard otherwise, and if you had heard anything about members of the cabinet who weren't happy with the way things were going, and if so, what are you doing to address those any dissatisfaction?
Elon, let the cabinet speak just for a second. Is anybody unhappy with Elon? If you are, well, throw them out of here. Is anybody unhappy? They have a lot of respect for Elon and that he's doing this, and some disagree a little bit, but I will tell you, for the most part, I think everyone's not only happy, they're thrilled. So go ahead, Elon.
President Trump has put together, I think, the best cabinet ever. Literally. So, and I do not give false praise. This is an incredible group of people. I don't think such a talented team has actually ever been assembled. I think it's literally the best cabinet that the country has ever had, and I think the company should be incredibly appreciative of the people in this room.
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Mr. President, thank you. Mr. Musk, are there about half of the government employees so far appear to have responded to your request for what they've been doing over the past week? Is there a timeline in place for next moves for people being fired, and when can the American people expect to see results from that?
Yes. Well, to be clear, I think that email perhaps was misinterpreted as a performance review, but actually it was a pulse check review. Do you have a pulse? Do you have a pulse and 2 neurons? So if you have a pulse and 2 neurons, you can reply to an email. This is, I think not a high bar, is what I'm saying. This is, should be, anyone could accomplish this. But what we are trying to get to the bottom of is we think there are a number of people on the government payroll who are dead, which is probably why they can't respond. And some people who are not real people, like they're literally fictional individuals that are collecting paychecks. Well, somebody's collecting paychecks on a fictional individual. So we're just literally trying to figure out, are these people real? Are they alive? And can they write an email? Which I think is a reasonable expectation for the American public would have at least that expectation of someone in the public sector.
Mr. Musk, roughly 1 million employees.
It's not a high bar, guys. Come on.
Roughly 1 million employees have responded so far to this email. Does that mean that the remaining 1 million or so federal employees now risk being terminated? And is it your understanding and expectation when you post a directive on X that the cabinet secretaries will follow that order? Because several agencies have instructed employees that this is voluntary or not to respond.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it was like last week, the president encouraged me via Truth Social and also via phone call to be more aggressive. And I was like, okay, yes, sir, Mr. President, we will indeed do that. The president is the commander-in-chief. I do what the president asks. And I said, can we send out an email to everyone just saying, what did you get done last week? And the president said yes, so it did that. We got a partial response. We're going to send another email. But our goal is not to be capricious or unfair. We want to give people every opportunity to send an email. And the email could simply be, what I'm working on is too sensitive or classified to describe. Like literally just, that would be sufficient. I think this is just common sense.
And what is your target number for how many workers, employees you're looking to cut total?
We wish to keep everyone who is doing a job that is essential and doing that job well. But if the job is not essential or they're not doing the job well, they obviously should not be on the public payroll.
Mr. Musk,
I'd like to add, wait. I'd like to add that those million people that haven't responded, though, Elon, they are on the bubble. I wouldn't say that we're thrilled about it. They haven't responded. Now, maybe they don't exist. Maybe we're paying people that don't exist. Don't forget, we just got here. This group just got here. But those people are on the bubble, as they say. Maybe they're going to be gone. Maybe they're not around. Maybe they have other jobs. Maybe they moved and they're not where they're supposed to be. A lot of things could have happened. I wouldn't say that Biden ran a very tight administration. They spent money like nobody's ever spent money before. Wasted money. The Green New scam, all of the different things they spent money on. And you've seen that. You've seen that with some of the things that I read in speeches. I read them and people can't believe when I read them. 20 million here, 30 million here for a little educational course on something, circumcision, right? Circumcision. $20 million to inform the people of such and such a country on other things and other things other than that. So, those people are, right now we're trying to find out who those people are that haven't responded. Now, there'll be some agencies, like Marco has people within state that are right now doing very classified, very confidential work, and we understand that. We've talked, and we're being a little more surgical. And Marco's doing a lot of things himself. And some of the secretaries, we're going to be going to them. We're going to be talking about it today. We're going to ask them to do their own DOGE. In other words, they'll look in their group, and I spoke with Lee Zeldin, and he thinks he's going to be cutting 65% or so of the people from environmental. And we're going to speed up the process, too, at the same time. You had a lot of people that weren't doing their job. They were just obstructionists, and a lot of people that didn't exist, I guess, Lee, too. You found a lot of empty spots that the people weren't there. They didn't exist. I think education is going to be one of those. You go around Washington, you see all these buildings for the Department of Education. We want to move education back to the states where it belongs. Iowa should have education. Indiana should run their own education. You're going to see education go way up. Right now, we're ranked at the very bottom of the list, but we're at the top of the list in one thing, the cost per pupil. We spend more money per pupil than any other country in the world. And yet it's Denmark and Norway, Sweden, and I hate to say this, and we're going to get along very well with China, but it's a competitor. They're at the top of the list. They're among the top 10, usually, and they're a very big country, so we can't use that as an excuse, right? Because we're a very big country, too, but we were ranked last time under Biden, we were ranked 40 out of 40. They do the 40 certain nations that they've done for a long time. It seems to be 40 for whatever reason. And we were ranked number 40. A year ago we were 38, then we were 39. We hit 40. And so we're last in that, and we're first in cost per pupil. So I would say that's unacceptable. Lawrence, you have something? Go ahead.
Mr. President, I know you like competition, and I know it's early, so which department are you most impressed with? And then to this that's the first one. Which department have you received the most resistance from?
Well, I think both of those questions are a little bit, well, you're a pretty controversial guy. Look, it's very early. Right now, I think I'm impressed with everybody. So far, everybody. If I wasn't in the first month, and some of them just got here, they just got approved 2 days ago, right? But I think I'm very impressed with everybody. So far, I'm very happy with all of the choices. I think that Elon has done incredibly with some groups, and some groups are much easier than others. It is true. State is a, very difficult situation. We're right now negotiating very successfully, I think, with Russia and with Ukraine, and we have a lot of countries involved, and we have to be a little bit careful what we do and who we're terminating. But Marco is doing that I think he's going to be very precise. It's going to be, we're cutting down government. We're cutting down the size of government. We have to. We're bloated. We're sloppy. We have a lot of people that aren't doing their job. We have a lot of people that don't exist. You look at Social Security as an example. I mean, you have so many people in Social Security where, if you believe it, they're 200 years old. And what we're doing is finding out, are checks going out for that? And is somebody cashing those checks who's maybe 35 years old, okay? So there's a lot of dishonesty, there's a lot of fraud. But I think at this moment, I'll take Elon off the spot. I think that he's impressed. He said it very well, better than I can say it, that he's impressed with the people in this room, very impressed. And I am too, and it's too early to say, but I think everybody's on board. They all know. We want to balance a budget. We want to have a balanced budget within a reasonably short period of time, meaning maybe by next year or the year after, but maybe even sooner than that.
Mr. President, your number one issue was the border. We just got new information that they're doxing our federal agents. They're putting their personal information out there, these activists, and they're disrupting the operation. So you got Trinidad running all.
Well, we have activists, that's true. And a lot of those.
What are we going to do about the activists?
Yeah, a lot of those activists are acting illegally, and we'll give that to our Attorney General, and she'll take a look at that very strongly. But we also having tremendous support from Border Patrol, from ICE. The ICE agents have been unbelievable. Border Patrol, their leadership at Border Patrol has been incredible, and they're working very well. And as you know, and I saw you reporting it this morning, actually, we set records on the least number of illegal aliens coming in, migrants coming into our country that we've had in more than 50 years. And we did this all within a period of weeks because we took over a mess. The world was pouring in. And remember, they were coming in from jails and prisons and mental institutions and insane asylums, and they were gang members and drug dealers. Anybody wanted to come in, they came. And from not just South America, from all over the world. So it's amazing what they've done. And Christie and Tom Holman, the job they've done has been absolutely amazing. We set records for and we want people to come into our country, by the way, but they want to come in, they have to come in legally. I want that to be really understood. We want people in our country, but they have to come in legally.
Can I follow on that, Mr. President, about the Trump Gold Card idea that you unveiled yesterday?
I hope you liked it.
I have way more information, but the question is, does this reflect a view on your part that the American immigration system has never been properly monetized as you feel it should be?
Well, not so much monetized. It hasn't been properly run. I get calls from, as an example, companies where they want to hire the #1 student at a school. A person comes from India, China, Japan, lots of different places, and they go to Harvard, the Wharton School of Finance, they go to Yale, they go to all great schools, and they graduate #1 in their class. And they're made job offers, but the offer is immediately rescinded because you have no idea whether or not that person can stay in the country. I want to be able to have that person stay in the country. These companies can go and buy a gold card, and they can use it as a matter of recruitment. At the same time, the company is using that money to pay down debt. We're going to pay down a lot of debt with that. And I think the gold card is going to be used by, not only for that, I mean, they'll be used by companies. I mean, I could see Apple. I've spoken with Tim Cook, and by the way, he's going to make a $500 billion investment in the country only because of the results of the election. And I think because of tariffs. He's going to want to be in the country because of tariffs. Because if you're in the country, there is no tariff. If you're out of the country, you got to pay tariffs. And that's going to be a great investment, I think, that he's making. I know it's going to be a great investment, but we have to be able to get people in the country, and we want people that are productive people. And I will tell you, the people that can pay $5 million, they're going to create jobs. They're going to spend a lot of money on jobs. They're going to have to pay taxes on that too. So they're going to be hiring people. They're going to be bringing people in and companies in. And I don't know, maybe it will sell like crazy. I happen to think it's going to sell like crazy. It's a bargain. But we'll know fairly soon. I think Howard and Scott, a few of you really are responsible for it. But Howard, if you want to discuss that for a couple of minutes, I think I'd like to have you. I think it's going to be a very successful program. This is commerce.
So the EB-5 program, which has been around for many years, had investment of $1 million into projects in America. And those projects were often suspect. They didn't really work out. There wasn't any oversight of it. And so for $1 million investment, you got a visa and then you came into the country and ended up with a green card. So it was poorly overseen, poorly executed. Then you had our border open where millions of people came through. So the idea is we will have a proper business. We will modify the EB-5 agreement. Christy and I are working on it together. For $5 million, they'll get a license from the Department of Commerce. Then they'll make a proper investment on the EB-5, right? And we think Scott and I will design the EB-5 investment model because Scott and I are the best people together to do that. So this is joint. This is exactly the Trump administration. We all work together. We work it out to be the best. And if we sell, just remember, 200,000. There's a line for EB-5 of 250,000 right now. 200,000 of these gold green cards is $1 trillion to pay down our debt. And that's why the president is doing it, because we are going to balance this budget and we are going to pay off the debt under President Trump.
And to qualify, do you have to promise and make commitments to create a certain number of jobs here in the U.S.?
No, because not all these people are going to be job builders. There'll be successful people, or there'll be people that were hired from colleges, like sort of like paying an athlete a bonus. I mean, Apple or one of the companies will go out and they'll spend they'll buy 5 of them and they're going to get 5 people. Look, I've had the complaint from a lot of companies where they go out to hire people and they can't hire them out of colleges. And you know what they do? They go back to India or they go back to the country where they came and they open up a company and they become billionaires. And they're employing thousands and thousands. There are a lot of examples. There are some really big examples where they were forced out of the country. They graduated top in their class at a great school, and they weren't able to stay. This is all the time you hear it. And the biggest complaint I get from companies, other than over-regulation, which we took care of, but we're going to have to take care of it here because a lot of that was put back on by Biden. But the biggest complaint is the fact that they can't have any longevity with people. This way they have pretty much unlimited longevity. Also with the $5 million, you know, that's a path to citizenship. So that's going to be, it's sort of a green card plus, and it's a path to citizenship. We're going to call it the gold card, and I think it's going to be very treasured. I think it's going to do very well, and we're going to start selling hopefully in about 2 weeks. Now, just so you understand, if we sell 1 million, right, 1 million, that's $5 trillion, 5 trillion. Howard was using a different number, but that's $5 trillion. If we sell 10 million, which is possible, 10 million highly productive people coming in, or people that we're going to make productive, they'll be young but they're talented, like a talented athlete, that's $50 trillion. That means our debt is totally paid off, and we have $15 trillion above that. And now, I don't know that we're going to sell that many. Maybe we won't sell many at all, but I think we're going to sell a lot, because I think there really is a thirst. No other country can do this, because people don't want to go to other countries. They want to come here. Everybody wants to come here, especially since November 5th.
And they'll all be vetted, by the way. All these people will be vetted, okay? They'll be vetted.
Ukraine, can you talk a little bit about what type of security guarantees you're willing to make?
Well, I'm not going to make security guarantees beyond very much. We're going to have Europe do that, because it's in, you know, we're talking about Europe as their next door neighbor. But we're going to make sure everything goes well. And as you know, we'll be making we'll be really partnering with Ukraine terms of rare earth. We very much need rare earth. They have great rare earth. We'll be working with Secretary Burgum and with Chris, or you'll be working on that together. And we're going to be able to have tremendous, I mean, this gives us, because we don't have that much of it here. We have some, but we don't have that much, and we need a lot more to really propel us to the next level of, to lead in every way. We're leading right now with AI. We're leading with everything right now, but we need resources. We have to double our electric capacity. We have to do many things. We have to really triple, if you think of it, the electric capacity from what we have right now, if you can believe it. So I just say this, so the deal we're making gets us, it brings us great wealth. We get back the money that we spent, and we hope that we're going to be able to settle this up. We want to settle it. We want to stop. I tell you what, I'm doing it for two reasons, but the number one reason by far is to watch all these people being killed. I see pictures every week from, I assume satellite pictures mostly, but there's some pictures on site of thousands of soldiers that are being killed. They're being decimated because equipment today, military equipment, is so powerful and so devastating. And number one, I want to see people stop. And they're not from here, they're from primarily two other countries. And then, by the way, let's talk about the Middle East. We got to solve that problem too. And that's come a long way. We're doing very well on that also. A lot of things are happening on that. But I'm watching soldiers being killed, Ukrainian and Russian soldiers being killed. My number one thing is to get that stopped. My number two thing is I don't want to have to pay any more money, because Biden has spent $350 billion without any chance of getting it back. Now we're going to be getting all of that money back plus a lot more. And we provided a great thing. I mean, we've provided something very important. And we'll be working with Ukraine, and because we'll be taking that, we're going to be taking what we're entitled to take. Now, they spent $350 billion, and Europe spent $100 billion. Now, does anybody really think that's fair? But then we find out a little while ago, not so long ago, a few months ago, I found out that the money they spent, they get back. But the money we spent, we don't get back. I said, well, we're going to get it back. And we'll be able to make a deal. And again, President Zelensky's coming to sign the deal. And it's a great thing. It's a great deal for Ukraine, too, because they get us over there. We're going to be working over there. We'll be on the land. And, you know, in that way, there's sort of automatic security, because nobody's going to be messing around with our people when we're there. And so we'll be there in that way. But Europe will be watching it very closely. I know that UK has said, and France has said, that they volunteered to put so-called peacekeepers on the site, and I think that's a good thing.
Mr. President, you have been very clear. The high cost of eggs, and we've seen consumer confidence this week have a sharp drop from last month, the biggest dip in, I believe, 3 years. Why is that, your assessment? Why is that the case? And is there
well, I think that consumer confidence, if you look at confidence in the nation, it had the biggest increase in the history of the chart. It went up 42 points in a period of like days after the election, since the election. So since the election, the confidence in our nation, including right track, wrong track, the first time it's ever happened where we were on the right track, because this country has been on the wrong track for a long time. So the confidence in business, confidence in the country has reached an all-time high. We have never reached levels like we are right now. Okay.
Mr. President, you've been very clear in saying that as long as you're president, Iran will never get a nuclear weapon.
That's true.
Is it also your policy that as long as you're president, China will never take Taiwan by force?
I never comment on that. I don't comment on anything because I don't want to ever put myself in that position. And if I said it, I certainly wouldn't be saying it to you. I'd be saying it to other people, maybe people around this table, and very specific people around this table. So I don't want to put myself in that position. But I can tell you what, I have a great relationship with President Xi. I've had a great relationship with him. We want them to come in and invest. I see so many things saying that we don't want China in this country. That's not right. We want them to invest in the United States. That's good. There's a lot of money coming in, and we'll invest in China. We'll do things with China. The relationship we'll have with China will be a very good one. I see all of these phony reports that we don't want their money, we don't want anything to do with them. That's wrong. We're going to have a good relationship with China, but they won't be able to take advantage of us. What they did to Biden was, he didn't know what was happening. He didn't know what he was doing. The administration didn't know what they were doing. It was very sad to watch. But we're going to have a good relationship with China and Russia and Ukraine and the Middle East. We're doing things that, look, when I left, we had no wars. We had defeated ISIS totally. We had no inflation. We didn't have the Afghanistan withdrawal, the worst withdrawal anybody's ever seen. I think that's one of the reasons that President Putin looked at that. He said, wow, these guys are a paper tiger. Look at it, we're no paper tiger. Don't forget, we got rid of ISIS in 3 weeks. People said it would take 5 years. We did it because when I came in, I let them do what they had to do. And the man that headed that operation is now going to be your chairman, right?
Yes,
Chairman
sir.
of the Joint Chiefs.
Yes, sir.
And Raisin Kane. I liked him right from the beginning. As soon as I heard his name, I said, that's my guy. Okay. Any other questions?
Decreases in crossings at the border to continue the pause on tariffs against Mexico and Canada? And
No,
if
I'm not stopping the tariffs. No, millions of people have died because of the fentanyl that comes over the border.
Even with the 90% drop in border crossings, though,
Well,
last
that's-
month compared to about a year ago?
Yeah, they've been good, but that's also due to us, mostly due to us. I mean, it's very hard. It's right now very hard to come through the border. But look, the damage has been done. We've lost millions of people due to fentanyl. It comes mostly from China, but it comes through Mexico and it comes through Canada. And I have to tell you that, on April 2nd, I was going to do it on April 1st, but I'm a little bit superstitious, so I made it April 2nd. The tariffs go on, not all of them, but a lot of them. And I think you're going to see something that's going to be amazing. We've been taken advantage of as a country for a long period of time. We've been tariffed, but we didn't tariff. Now, I did when I was here. We took in $700 billion from China. $700 billion. Not one president in the history of our country took in 10 cents from China. At the same time, China respected us. Now, when COVID came in, that was a different deal. I used to call it the China virus. I guess I can call it the China virus again, but it's an accurate term, but I won't do that out of respect to China.
Immigration enforcement?
Say it again, what?
On Gaza, I just wondered if there's any progress towards the second phase of the ceasefire.
Well, I'm very disappointed when I see four bodies came in today. These are young people. Young people don't die, okay? Young people don't die. These are young people. 4 bodies came in today. They think they're doing us a favor by sending us bodies. So, look, that's a decision that has to be made by Israel, by Bibi. But Israel has to make that decision. We got a lot of hostages back. But it's very sad what happened to those people. I mean, you had a young lady with her hand practically blown off. You know why it blew up? Because she put up her hand to try and stop a bullet that was coming her way. And it hit her hand and blew off her fingers, big part of her hand. This is a vicious group of people. And Israel's going to have to decide what they're doing. Phase 1 is going to be ending. Think of it, today they sent in 4 bodies. Bodies! And I will say one thing, though. I've spoken to a lot of the parents and a lot of the people involved. They want those bodies almost as much and maybe even just as much as they wanted their son or their daughter. Amazing. Please, sir, please, my son is dead, but they have his body. Please, can you get it for us? It's the biggest thing. It's incredible, the level. They want the bodies of these people. They're dead. They're dead. And when I saw the ones that came in 2 weeks ago, they looked like they just got out of a concentration camp. Then the following week, a group came in and they weren't as bad, in as bad a shape. But Israel's going to have to make a decision. You're right, phase 1 and now phase 2 has started. And today we got some, very, very sick. We knew they were dead, by the way. We knew that they were going to be bodies as opposed to people that were living. But it's a very sad situation. At some point, somebody's going to say, we got to do something about this.
Mr. President, you were just talking about Afghanistan and the botched withdrawal. Have all the generals or command staff that were involved with the withdrawal been fired or relieved of duty?
Well, that's a great idea. I'm not going to tell this man what to do, but I will say that. If I had his place, I'd fire every single one of them, Pete. Pete, that's a very good question.
Well, it's a question we've thought a lot about. We're doing a complete review of every single aspect of what happened with the botched withdrawal of Afghanistan, and plan to have full accountability. It's one of the first things we announced at the Defense Department for that reason, sir. Certainly, General Raisin Kane, who's on his way in, was not a part of that. Instead, was a part of leading the effort against ISIS by untying the hands of warfighters and finishing the job properly, and then bringing our troops home. So we're taking a very different view, obviously, than the previous administration, and there will be full accountability.
I don't see big promotions in that group, and I think they're going to be largely gone. I know the man on my left. I think they're going to be largely gone. That was a horrible display, and you know, I've dealt with the parents and the family of the 13 that were killed, but you know, nobody ever talks about the 40 that were so badly hurt, with the arms and the legs and the face and the whole thing, the missing arms and legs. It was so terrible the way that was handled, and it should have been gone through Bagram. We have a big base with big fences and nobody can get in, and you have, you know, hundreds of acres instead of a little local airport where the whole place went crazy. That was so badly handled, and I would think that most of those people are going to be gone.
Are we going to take Bagram back?
So I'll tell you what has bothered me very much, very, very much. We give billions of dollars to Afghanistan. Nobody knows that. Nobody knew that. Do you know we give billions of dollars to Afghanistan? And yet we left behind all of that equipment, which wouldn't have happened. You know, we were getting out under me. I'm the one that got it down to 5,000 people. We were going to get out, but we were going to keep Bagram, not because of Afghanistan, but because of China, because it's exactly 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear missiles. So they were going to keep Bagram. We were going to keep a small force on Bagram. We were going to have Bagram Air Base, one of the biggest air bases in the world, one of the biggest runways, one of the most powerful runways in the sense that it was very heavy concrete and steel. You could carry about anything. You could land anything on those runways. We gave it up. And you know who's occupying it right now? China. China. Biden gave it up. So we're going to keep that, and we're going to have a withdrawal, and we're going to take our equipment. We're going to do it properly. We're going to do it we're going to keep the equipment. Well, they ran out. It was, what happened there was, in fact, you know, in all fairness to Putin, when he saw that, he said, well, this is our time to go into Ukraine, I guess, because it was, the timing seemed to be about right. But we send them billions of dollars in aid, which nobody knows. If the American public knew that, they know it now. And if we're doing that, I think they should give our equipment back. And I told Pete to study that. But we left billions, tens of billions of dollars worth of equipment behind. Brand new trucks. You see them display it every year on their little roadway someplace where they have a road and they drive the, you know, waving the flag and talking about America. Beautiful equipment that's all, I mean, the top of the line stuff, brand new stuff. Now it's getting older. But you know what? We're going to pay them. I think we should get a lot of that equipment back. You know that Afghanistan is one of the biggest sellers of military equipment in the world. You know why? They're selling the equipment that we left. We're first. They were second or third. Can you believe it? They're selling 777,000 rifles, 70,000 armor-plated. Many of them were armor-plated trucks and vehicles. 70,000. If you think of a used car lot, the biggest one in the country, if I would say, JD, if somebody had 500 cars, that would be a lot. This is 70,000 vehicles we had there, and we left it for them. I think we should get it back.
Mr. President, the spending bill that passed last night aims to cut $2 trillion.
Right.
Can you guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, you shouldn't be asking me that question. Okay? This will not be read my lips. There won't be read my lips anymore. We're not going to touch it. Now, we are going to look for fraud. I'm sure you're okay with that, like people that shouldn't be on, people that are illegal aliens and others, criminals in many cases. And that's with Social Security. We have a lot of people. You see that immediately when you see people that are 200 years old that are being sent checks for Social Security. Some of them are actually being sent checks. So we're tracing that down, and I have a feeling that Pam is going to do a very good job with that. But you have a lot of fraud. But no, I'm not. We're not doing anything on that.
Mr. President, part of your mission, sir, part of your mission has been. Thank you. I'm sorry. Part of your mission has been to restore executive control over the executive branch. Is it your view of your authority that you have the power to call up any one of or all of the people seated at this table and issue orders that they're bound to follow?
Oh, yeah, they'll follow the orders, yes, they will.
No exceptions?
No exception. Well, let's see, let me think. Oh, yeah. She'll have an exception. Of course, no exceptions. You know that.
Mr. President, can you clarify the Canada-Mexico tariffs? You had put that 30-day pause.
Yeah.
You just referred to
25%.
25%. When does it go into effect?
April 2nd.
April 2nd for Canada-Mexico.
Correct. And for
the
everything.
Well, we have the fentanyl-related is a pause. If they can prove to the president they've done an excellent job, that's what they first do in 30 days.
Have you guys seen any
But then the
changes?
overall is April 2nd. So the big transaction is April 2nd, but the fentanyl-related things, they're working hard on the border. At the end of that 30 days, they have to prove to the president that they've satisfied him to that regard. If they have,
It's going to be
then
hard
he'll
to
give them a pause, or he won't. But
It's going
that's
to be
up
hard
to
to
him. We'll see.
satisfy. We lose 300,000 people a year to fentanyl. Not 100, not 95, not 60 like you read. You know, you've been reading it for years. We lost, in my opinion, over the last couple of years, on average, maybe close to 300,000 people dead. And the families are ruined. You know, when they lose a daughter, when they lose a son, the families are never the same. You're never going to be the same. So you're talking about 1 million people. But when the daughters die, I see it, daughters die and the sons die because of fentanyl. And in some cases, I don't even know they're taking it. They're buying something else and it's laced with fentanyl and they end up dying. And I've known many people who've lost children to fentanyl and for other reasons, but to fentanyl, it's such a big killer. And those people are never the same people. I mean, I've seen people that for the rest of their lives, they're not the same people. They're so different, it's not even believable. Dynamic people, happy people they die a miserable death. And that's because of the crap that comes in through China and through Mexico and through Canada. A lot of it comes through Canada. Look, we support Canada. $200 billion a year in subsidies one way or the other. We let them make millions of cars. We let them send us lumber. We don't need their lumber. We're going to free up our lumber. Lee's going to do the head of environmental. We're going to free up our lumber. We have the best lumber there is. We don't need their lumber. What do we need their lumber for? When you look at we subsidize them $200 billion a year. Without us, Canada can't make it. You know, Canada relies on us 95%. We rely on them 4%. Big difference. And I say Canada should be our 51st state. There's no tariffs, no nothing. And I say that we give them military protection. They have a very small military. They spend very little money on military. On NATO, they're just about last in terms of payment because they say, why should we spend on military? That's a tremendous cost. Most nations can't afford to even think about it. Why should we spend on military? The United States protects us. And I would say that's largely true. We protect Canada, but it's not fair. It's not fair that they're not paying their way. And if they had to pay their way, they couldn't exist. When I spoke to, let's call it the Prime Minister rather than the governor, but when I spoke to him, I said, why are we giving you $200 billion a year? He was unable to answer the question. I said, why are we letting you make millions of cars and send them in? He was unable to answer the question. Justin Trudeau. Nice guy. I think he's a very good guy. I call him Governor Trudeau. He should be governor because the fact is that if we don't give them cars, we don't have to give them cars. The tariffs will make it impossible for them to sell cars into the United States. The tariffs will make it impossible for them to sell lumber or anything else into the United States. And all I'm asking to do is break even or lose a little bit, but not lose $200 billion. And we love Canada. I love Canada. I love the people of Canada. And but honestly, it's not fair for us to be supporting Canada. And if we don't support them, they don't subsist as a nation. Okay?
Mr. President, on the EU tariffs, Mr. President, have you made a decision on what level you will seek on tariffs in the European Union?
We have made a decision. We'll be announcing it very soon, and it'll be 25%. generally speaking, and that'll be on cars and all of the things. And European Union is a different case than Canada, different kind of case. They've really taken advantage of us in a different way. They don't accept our cars. They don't accept essentially our farm products. They use all sorts of reasons why not. And we accept everything of them. And we have about a $300 billion deficit with the European Union. Now, I love the countries of Europe. I guess I'm from there at some point a long time ago, right? But indirectly, pretty directly too, I guess. But I love the countries of Europe. I love all countries, frankly, all different. But European Union's been, it was formed in order to screw the United States. I mean, look, let's be honest. The European Union was formed in order to screw the United States. That's the purpose of it. And they've done a good job of it, but now I'm president.
What will happen if these countries where the EU retaliate?
They can't. I mean, they can try, but they can't.
China did. They imposed tariffs that went into effect. China's
That's right. That's right.
But the 10th of February, has there been any impact
right.
you've been able to observe?
That's right. No, they can do it, and they can try, but the numbers can never equal what ours, because we can go off. We are the pot of gold. We're the one that everybody wants, and they can retaliate, but it cannot be a successful retaliation, because we just go cold turkey. We don't buy anymore, and if that happens, we win.
Are you talking to Eric Prince about privatizing deportations?
No, I haven't.
So, President, you're in litigation with CBS News. Is this a case that you'd like to see go to trial, or are you open
with
to
who?
CBS,
CBS?
Yes.
Well, CBS did something that was amazing. Kamala was unable to answer a question properly, and they took the question that they asked and they inserted an answer. They gave her an answer. This was 2 days before the election, right before the Sunday night before the election. And they wrote out they put her words from another question that was asked about a half an hour later, and they put that into the question. Nobody's ever even heard of it before. Nobody's ever heard of anything like this before, but they then did it, they say, on numerous occasions. And the FCC is looking at it very strongly, and everybody's looking at it, but nobody's ever seen anything. Think of it, they took her answers and they changed them. And I don't mean they changed a word or two, or they cut off a half a sentence, or they cut off a couple of words. I mean, I've had that happen too, but that you just say, then they say, well, we want brevity. We wanted to do it for time. They took out her answer and they inserted an entirely different answer that made her sound competent. And they did this, and nobody's ever, I thought I've heard of everything when it comes to that stuff. No, I've never heard of it. Nobody's ever seen. So we sued, and we are in discussions of settlement.
What would a number be? What's a number that you would
I think it's a lot. It probably did affect the election. I mean, we won by a lot. As I said, too big to rig, but it probably did affect the election. Probably could have won by more, but I could have lost the election because of that. We have to get to honest elections. We have to go back to paper ballots. We have to go back to voter ID. One-day election, ideally, or short-term, not these 48-day and 61-day elections where boxes are put in a room and, let's move the boxes because we're putting in a new air conditioning system. Then you see the boxes move, and then you say, well, where are all the boxes? What happened to the boxes that never came back? Now, our elections are extremely dishonest. We're the only country in the world that has mail-in voting and all of these different things that we put in. No other country in the world has it. France went to, they had some of the things that we had, and they went to same-day voting, all paper. And paper is very sophisticated now. It's a very sophisticated form of voting right now. It's a very safe form of voting. The other things for the governors, I wish the governors would do it, because the paper ballots will cost 9% of the machines, and they're 100%. Nothing's foolproof, but they're as close as you get. So we'll see what happens. But on the 60-minute thing, nobody's ever seen anything like it.
Would you link the FCC action to the litigation?
I don't think it's linked, but probably the lawyers look at it, because I know it's going along. FCC is headed by a very competent person. and you have some very competent people on the board, and so I think they're looking at it very seriously.
So of all the deals that you've done in your life, all the people you've sat across from and negotiated with, is President Putin distinct in any way?
He's a very smart guy. He's a very cunning person, but I've dealt with some people I've dealt with some really bad people. But I will tell you, as far as this is concerned, you have to understand, he had no intention, in my opinion, of settling this war. I think he wanted the whole thing. When I got elected, we spoke, and I think we're going to have a deal. I can't guarantee that. You know, a deal is a deal. Lots of crazy things happen in deals, right? But I think we're going to have a deal. If I didn't get elected, I believe he would have just continued to go through Ukraine, and over a period of time, a lot of people would have been killed, would have lasted for a period of time. And the reason that Ukraine, and I have great respect for the Ukraine as fighters, they're great fighters, but without our equipment, that war would have been over, like people said, in a very short period of time.
Is there a time
and if you remember, I gave the javelins, and the javelins are the things that knocked out those tanks right at the beginning of the war. They said that Obama at the time gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. Well, I was the one that did that, but I want to see it come to an end.
Will he have to make concessions, President Putin?
Yeah, he will. He's going to have to. And I believe that because we got elected, that war will come to an end. And I also believe if we didn't get elected, if this administration didn't win the election by a lot, that war would go on for a long time, and he would want to take the whole thing. Because the big question I had is, does he want to take the whole thing? But the reason, and the Ukrainians are good fighters, I have to say, but without the equipment, without our equipment, we have the best equipment in the world. We have the best military equipment in the world. Without our equipment, that would have been over very quickly.
What concessions would you like to see? What concessions would you like to see?
Oh, I don't want to tell you right now, but I can tell you that NATO you can forget about. I think that's probably the reason the whole thing started. And I think, JD, we can say that. Do you have a statement on that? You've been very much involved. I gave him the beauty.
Great. Gave me the hardest question, sir. I mean, look, as the president said, we're not going to do the negotiation in public with the American media. He's going to do it in private with the president of Russia, with the president of Ukraine, and with other leaders. And I think that's how this has to go. I think I just want to push back against some of the criticism I've seen of the administration on this, because every single time the president engages in diplomacy, you guys preemptively accuse him of conceding to Russia. He hasn't conceded anything to anyone. He's doing the job of a diplomat, and he is, of course, the diplomat in chief as the President of the United States.
On the gold cards, sir, can you talk a little bit more about the vetting process?
He'll go through a process. The process is being worked out right now, and we're going to be very careful.
Will there be restrictions on, for instance, can Chinese nationals get
No, we're not going to
Iranian
restrict.
nationals
We're
get-
probably not going to be restricting too much in terms of countries, but maybe in terms of individuals. We want to make sure we have people that love our country and are capable of loving the country.
There's a measles outbreak in Texas at the moment in which a child is reported to have died. Do you have concerns about that, and have you asked Secretary Kennedy to look into that?
Well, why don't we, Bobby, do you want to speak on that?
We are following the measles epidemic every day. I think there's 124 people who have contracted measles at this point, mainly in Gaines County, Texas. Mainly, we're told, in the Mennonite community. There are 2 people who have died, but we're watching it, and there are about 20 people hospitalized, mainly for quarantine. We're watching it. We put out a post on it yesterday, and we're going to continue to follow it. Incidentally, there have been 4 measles outbreaks this year. In this country last year, there were 16. So it's not unusual. We have measles outbreaks every year.
You sound a little under the weather yourself.
I have a permanently bad throat.
Mr. President, would you send U.S. peacekeepers to support the European peacekeepers? Would you do any sort of U.S.
No, we're going to support Europe, yeah.
And how would you do
We're
that?
very
How
friendly
would
with
you
Europe.
do
We
that?
have a great relationship with Europe. I mean, you could ask, you could talk about France, you could talk about any of them. I mean, we have a great relationship with Europe.
But how will the United States do that? Would there be?
Well, how? I mean, you're asking me a question, what are we doing in the field? Let's worry, I hope we have that problem where we could worry about peacekeeping. We got to get there first, but I hope we have the problem of worrying about peacekeeping. That'll be the easiest problem, I think, JD, that we've ever had.
That would be part of the deal, presumably.
We'll do it at the time, but peacekeeping is very easy. It's making the deal that's very tough. And again, nobody was speaking to Russia at all. And, you know, probably 1.5 million soldiers have been killed, close to 1.5 million soldiers, not to mention I will tell you, the thing with that horrible war that should have never started, would have never started if I were president. And it didn't start for 4 years, and it was not even thought about starting. But the thing with that war is that you're highly underestimating the number of people that have been killed. Far more people have been killed in that war than you talk about. You know, you like to talk about numbers like 1 million people. Well, they had much more than 1 million soldiers killed. But you have a lot of cities that have been knocked to the ground. They're demolition sites, literally demolition sites. Every single building is knocked to the ground. And a lot of people were killed in those buildings. And you'll hear a report, 2 people were minorly injured or just injured a little bit. No, people were killed by the thousands. And there are a lot more people killed in that war than the media wants to talk about, because Biden did a horrible, horrible job. He should have prevented that war. He could have prevented that war. Putin would have never gone in. I'll tell you one thing. He would have never gone in. That war would never have taken place if I were president.
I think what people are trying to understand, Mr. President, is how would the United States, what would you be willing to do to support this European peacekeeping effort? Would there be...
Again, you're asking me the same question? How many times do you have to answer? You're talking about after we make peace. Let me make peace first. Once we make peace, I'll give you all the answers you want. But how many times can you ask the same question?
Is loosening of sanctions on...
Yeah, go ahead. It's behind.
Is loosening of sanctions on Russia a potential option as part of...
Not now. No. We have sanctions on Russia. No, I want to see if we make a deal first. But I think we will. I've had very good conversations with President Putin. I've had very good conversations with President Zelensky. And until 4 weeks ago, nobody had conversations with anybody. It wasn't even a consideration. Nobody thought you could make peace. I think you can.
But if Mr. Putin gets to keep the land that was claimed by force, if the Russians get to keep the territory that they claim by force, doesn't that send a dangerous message, let's say, to China?
Oh, okay. You try and take it away, right? We're gonna do the best we can. We're gonna do the best we can to make the best deal we can for both sides, but for Ukraine, we're gonna try very hard to make a good deal so that they can get as much back as possible. We want to get as much back as possible.
Mr. President, just to bring this
we'll cut it out after maybe this question. Go ahead.
To bring this full circle.
Unless it's a bad question, and then we'll get that. You always like to finish on a good one.
Sir, they want you to negotiate with them instead of
President Putin. They want to continue to talk about the peacekeepers. You have a lot of confidence in us because you assume there's going to be peace. You know, it's possible it doesn't work out. There is possibility, but I hope it does for the sake of humanity. Because if you look at the pictures that I've looked at, you don't want to look at them. Go ahead.
I have a question back on these cuts to the federal workforce. You mentioned you're interested in doing another round of this email. When would you like to see that? What would be the deadline?
I'm not. I think Elon wants to, and I think it's a good idea because, you know, those people, as I said before, they're on the bubble. You got a lot of people that have not responded, so we're trying to figure out, do they exist? Who are they? And it's possible that a lot of those people will be actually fired. And if that happened, that's okay, because that's what we're trying to do. This country has gotten bloated and fat and disgusting and incompetently run. I think we had the worst president in the history of our country. He just left office. I think he's a disgrace, what he's done to our country by allowing millions of people to come into our country like that. And all of the other things, the inflation, which he caused because of energy and stupid spending, to spend hundreds of millions, trillions and trillions of dollars on the Green New scam, a total scam. I have the best energy people, the best environmental people in the world around this table, and they can't even believe he got away with it. And then in leaving office to send $20 billion here and $20 million there and 10 million and 5 million, and they couldn't spend the money fast enough, and let's get it out before Trump gets in. Let's just get it out to anybody. And this is a disgrace to our nation, and you don't write the fair thing, but look, you know, the good news, the people see it, and that's why we won the election by so much. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Okay, that was the Trump cabinet meeting. He took a lot of questions. It was mostly like a press conference, basically. That's basically what it ended up being like. I mean, I'm guessing they met. I'm guessing they met before that. I don't know. I'm guessing we didn't see the whole meeting, but the part we saw was basically Trump taking questions, and a few other cabinet members and non-cabinet member Elon Musk chiming in. So I want to talk to you guys, get your comments on this, and let me just fix the headline here. And I want to just mention a couple things that I noticed, and then we'll hear from what you guys said. So Trump said, among other things, Trump said that the roughly a million federal workers who did not reply to the Elon Musk, what have you been doing the past week email, he said they're on the bubble. And it's possible a lot of them will be fired. He said maybe they're going to be gone. Now, a number of agency heads, I believe, told their workers to not reply to this email. But that is something he said multiple times. He said these around 1 million people are on the bubble. Maybe they're going to be gone. It's possible a lot of the 1 million people will be fired. So he said that. He said that Lee Zeldin, this I noted. He said that Lee Zeldin, the EPA head, has told him that I got to get the exact language, but it was something to the extent of he thinks he can fire around 65% of people in environmental. So is that really going to happen? Is 65% of the EPA going to be fired? I don't know. But he said that. What else? He said when asked about what security guarantees the U.S. was going to give to Ukraine in exchange, I guess, for the rights to some of the mineral rights to their rare earth minerals. He said that the U.S. was not going to make them very much security guarantees. Let's see what else here. I mean, there was all kinds of things, but those were some of the things that stood out to me. Also, Elon Musk claimed that the purpose of the email that was sent to all the federal employees a few days ago, asking them to write 5 things that they've been doing in the last week. Elon Musk claimed that it was just a pulse check review, and it was solely designed to find out if they're dead or not real people. At one point he said that. So, anyways, I want to take some comments from you. What did you guys think of the briefing? He did say that he seemed optimistic about President Trump about some sort of deal being done with Ukraine. Let's see here. Okay, I want to take some comments from you guys. DB101 says it was a king holding court. Oh, Robert F. Kennedy. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. he said during the press briefing that 2 people had died in the measles outbreak. So right before we came on the air, the state of Texas announced that a school-aged child that had not been vaccinated had died in the Texas measles outbreak. According to NBC News, that's the first measles death in the United States in a decade. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Secretary of Health and Human Services, said during the Trump, he spoke just for a short, maybe a minute or two, if even, I believe, in the cabinet meeting about the measles outbreak, and he said that 2 people had died. So that's the first I've heard about this. That had not been announced yet. So maybe that's true, or maybe he has bad information. But if it's true, it hasn't been announced. That's the first anybody has heard of this, because right before we came on the air, Texas announced that 1 person had died. Austin Batman says the 2 death number was new news. Yeah, I mean, it's a big story that 1 person died. So he said 2. He also said that there are measles outbreaks all the time. To be clear, I don't know about the numbers, but to be clear, this is the first measles outbreak with a death in the U.S. in a decade. And also, I believe it's the biggest in Texas in decades. Also, Texas expects it to grow. Yeah, so AP had said that state health officials said that the current measles outbreak in Texas is the largest in Texas in nearly 30 years. All right, let me take some comments from you guys. Oh, they talked about a bunch about the Trump Gold Card, where basically anyone will be able to buy a green card and a path to citizenship for $5 million. And Trump was hypothesizing about how many of these they could sell. And Trump said that he thought possibly they could sell 10 million of them. And he said, if that happens, then I believe he said that would get rid of the national debt. Because it would be, I think, what? It would be 50, because they're 5 million, it's 10 million and they'd be 5 million each. Yes, so it would be $50 trillion. Yes, the national debt's around 36 trillion. So I don't know if the U.S. will be able to sell 10 million gold card, green card type things. Also, that would be 10 million more people in the U.S. Also, you know what I was wondering? I mean, this is a lot of money, but could a country buy, you know how close elections have been in this country lately, right? So could a country buy, say, a couple million, could Russia buy a couple million Trump cards? Oh, and with the hope that those people would eventually be citizens and that, say, in 10, 15 years, they could tell those people how to vote in U.S. elections. I know it's a crazy theory, but I was just wondering about that. Anyways. Trump did say that people would be vetted. Let's see. Anyways, so, oh, by the way, just to be clear, I was reading an article last night. I forget who wrote it. It was in one of the newspapers that said that there might be legal challenges to that program, and possibly it could be a legal issue because possibly it's up to Congress to make a change like that. Because I believe that program is supposed to replace or change a different program under which people could commit to spending $1 million to create jobs in the U.S. and by doing so get a green card. Anyways, I want to take some more comments. So it's not clear that whether the gold card program would be challenged in court and whether it might survive those challenges. Yes, the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said the Trump gold card would replace EB-5 visas in 2 weeks. EB-5 visas were created by Congress in 1990 to generate foreign investment and are available to people who spend about $1 million on a company that employs at least 10 people. President Trump did say in the cabinet meeting today that there would not be any specific requirement that the person creates jobs if they get a Trump gold card for $5 million. Up North says, can someone sell their citizenship for $5 million? All right, I want to read some comments from you guys. Let me know what you thought of the Trump cabinet meeting, at least the live streamed portion of it. Michelle Defenderfer asked, will they be vetted? President Trump and his cabinet did say that there's going to be some sort of vetting process for the people who would be buying the Trump gold card. Truth WSYF says, never a dull moment with Trump as president. Oh, you know, Nicholas Sprouse had a good, interesting point. I'm going to look this up. Okay, according to Google AI, according in Wikipedia, there are about 56 to 58 million millionaires in the world. But President Trump is saying, well, maybe companies would want to spend $5 million to get a particular person to come in the country to work for them. I think Nicholas was bringing this up because Trump floated the idea that 10 million people could buy... No, what was it? Yeah, Trump floated the idea that 10 million people could buy the $5 million gold card, and that would eliminate the U.S. debt. Mr. Obvious says, how will smaller companies compete with big corporations buying gold card geniuses? Oh, Irene Moore says, would have liked to have heard each cabinet member speak. Yeah, so I didn't know how that was going to happen, but there were a bunch of cabinet members. Most cabinet members we did not hear from. Like we did not hear from Kristi Noem. We did not hear from Tulsi Gabbard. We did not hear from Pam Bondi. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. we heard from very briefly. Pete Hegseth briefly. Did Marco Rubio... Am I forgetting? Did he say something at the beginning? Did Marco Rubio actually... Did he speak a little bit? I can't even remember. He didn't speak that much. If he spoke. People in the chat are saying he never spoke. Yeah. I thought maybe what would happen is that we would go around to the different cabinet members. That did not happen. That did not happen. Again, we didn't see the whole meeting, I don't believe. So, but I thought for the public thing, maybe that would happen. Yeah, we didn't hear from many people. Howard Lutnick, the Secretary of Commerce, maybe we heard from him the most. By the way, a quick thank you for your support. Not Doubting Thomas and Kender for the gift memberships, thank you. Wendy Knutson, Kazmira Flanagan. Kazmira says, how about wife and kids? I haven't heard anything about this gold card program that says that if you buy a gold card, your wife and kids get something. But maybe because of citizen, if you buy a gold card and you have a green card and you eventually become a citizen, does that help your wife and kids eventually get in? I don't know how that works normally. Well, you can. The U.S. Citizenship and the U.S. government website that I'm on says that if you're a U.S. citizen, you can become a lawful permanent resident based on your family relationship if you meet certain eligibility requirements. So, in theory, if somebody got a Trump gold card and became a U.S. citizen, eventually, that could help family members get in the country. I don't know about just having a green card. Hold on. This site, U.S. Customs and Immigration Services, says as a green card holder, you may petition for certain family members to immigrate to the U.S. as permanent residents. You may petition for a spouse, unmarried children under 21, unmarried son or daughter of any age. I don't know how likely that petition is to be granted. Anyways, it's an interesting question as to if somebody, how will it be for people who buy gold cards in terms of getting family members immigration privileges? That I don't know. President Trump did say he is still planning on putting tariffs on Canada and Mexico on April 2nd, although that could change. Oh, also, thanks for your support, Wendy Knutson, Kazmira Flanagan, Bebop and Rocksteady. Thank you, Bebop and Rocksteady, and Ivan and Wildflower and Anonymous. Anonymous thinks that DOGE already conducted a pulse check when they first set up the government email address and emailed people. So he thinks it's not true to say that the latest email was a pulse check. Thank you, Anonymous, he or she. Thank you, Murph, our new member, and also Crazy Yoda. Thank you, Crazy Yoda, who appreciated the openness of us being able to see some of this cabinet meeting. Thank you, Joe Webb, who points out, he says, DOD said no one respond and no one will be fired. Yes, as I mentioned, some departments told their employees not to respond to the Elon Musk email. But then President Trump said today that the 1 million or so people who did not respond to the email are on the bubble. And maybe they're going to be gone, and it's possible a lot of them will be fired. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. Thank you also, Urs Wiesendanger, for your support. Also, I think I owe a couple thank yous for Twitch people. Sorry for the delay. Big Dog Gaming and Guy from the 207 and Psyops. Thanks for your support on Twitch, and Notorious Rob as well. I'm going to take some more comments from you guys. And also, let me thank our moderators because I really appreciate them being here. A Moment of Lovely, Big Ball of Yarn, LB Prairiedon, Matthew Kohai 3, Papa Bear Surly Dev. Thank you. Also, Beth Mythical, Ruth Krafasi on YouTube, Janet B. Thanks for moderating. Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. Thank you so much for moderating. Kay Lowry Body over there on Facebook. Margaret Riley, thank you. Trisha Leiderson, our viewer, thinks the email objective is weeding out supporters and non-supporters. Dennis McNeely says, my son-in-law got his green card, then got his legal U.S. citizenship. I am so proud of him for doing this the right process. Oh, there was, hang on one second here. There was a new announcement by the Office of Personnel Management that I wanted to mention to you guys. They actually sent out a document. By the way, some sad news. Michelle Trachtenberg, a actress, well-known actress. I mean, some of you might not know who she is, but I consider her a well-known actress. She has passed away at the age of 39. So I just wanted to mention this. There's the Wikipedia page. She was in The Adventures of Pete and Pete, Euro Trip, Gossip Girl, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and other things. So condolences to her family. The New York Post, by the way, said that she was found at around 8 a.m. this morning by her mother. And the police said she was found unconscious and unresponsive. They also said she recently underwent a liver transplant, and the New York Post says her death is not deemed suspicious. The New York Post also said she had posted some recent photos in recent months on Instagram which caused concern among some fans because she appeared gaunt and frail. That's what the New York Post says. Again, condolences. Just 39 years old. It's a sad story. AFP has a headline right now, or they just posted on their social media. And I mentioned this. They said U.S. Health Secretary says 2 deaths from measles outbreak in Texas after Texas reported 1 child had died. Yes. So again, just before this cabinet meeting, just before we came on the air, Texas reported the first death from measles in the U.S. in a decade, an unvaccinated school-age child. And during the cabinet meeting, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, said there have actually been 2 deaths from this measles outbreak in Texas. Let me take some more comments from you guys. Do you have other thoughts about the cabinet meeting? American Foreigners says, finally an honest, transparent administration. Oh, I want to mention this. Hold on. Trump administration directs federal agencies to plan for sweeping layoffs in new memo. I actually saw the memo. Federal agencies must develop plans to eliminate employee positions, according to a memo distributed by President Trump's administration, I believe today, that sets in motion what could become a sweeping realignment of American government. That's from AP. So this memo came out. I actually have it here. If it loads, I'm trying to load it. The U.S. Office of Personnel Management posted it, and I'm trying to load it. It's not loading. You can see they said we have issued guidance to streamline the federal workforce. Streamline. In line with the president's commitment to cutting waste and improving efficiency. But the actual, maybe a lot of people are clicking on this right now. I wouldn't be surprised. But I clicked on it and it's not loading yet. It's just stuck. KC, our viewer, says downsizing and streamlining things is never easy or without casualties. Tricia Leiderson says, I'm wondering what the unemployment rate spikes to in the coming months. HMN says, this is no TV show. You're fired. Spark Fisher mentions Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, isn't he coming tomorrow? Maybe there'll be a press conference that we'll cover. Isn't he coming to visit Trump tomorrow? Yes. Another AP headline here. Keir Starmer heads to Washington with UK defense spending pledge to help sway Trump over Ukraine. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer was flying to Washington today after announcing a big increase in the British defense budget, an investment he hopes will persuade US President Trump to maintain support for Ukraine as Washington pushes to end the war. Thank you, Weaselman. Have you considered a weekly wrap-up stream? You know, periodically I get requests for wrap-up streams, weekly or daily. I really appreciate the suggestion. Right now, I think it might be a little much given all of the other news going on, but at the same time, I do appreciate the suggestion. Maybe at some point we'll do it. Your suggestion has been duly noted. Thank you so much, Weaselman. Also, thank you, Jason Depp, who said President Trump said 300,000 died from fentanyl. Google says 57,000. So did President Trump say 300,000 this past year? I'm looking up right now. There were, maybe he misspoke. Trying to find the exact number here. Hang on. Hang on. Okay. A Reuters article from February says that total overdose deaths in the U.S. in the last 12 months, ending September 2024, is 87,000. Over the past decade, more than 450,000 Americans have died of synthetic opioid overdoses over the past decade. Deaths from synthetic opioids, including fentanyl, dropped to around 55,000 in the 12-month period ending September 2024 from an estimated 79,000 or so the previous year, according to the CDC. That's according to Reuters. So those are the numbers. Thank you, Jason Derp. Thanks, Dodger Blue, our member. Thank you, IR Geek, for your support. Thank you, Not Doubting Thomas. Thank you also to Dominic Shiro. Thanks so much for your support, Dominic Shiro. And Fred Witherow. Hey, Fred, I really appreciate your support. Thank you, Fred Witherow. Oh, did that document come in? I still can't download. I tried to download that document. The Office of Personnel Management and Office of Management and Budget today issued guidance about getting rid of more federal workers, but the link does not work. I got a bad gateway on the link. So I'm trying to get you the actual document so I can show you. But it looks like more layoffs are coming. Yeah. Evelyn in Maine says, I broke it. Oh, it worked. I think it worked. I think it worked. Hold on. I think I got it. I got it. Can I make it bigger? All right. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you can see this is the memo. The federal government is costly, inefficient, and deeply in debt. So we're going to submit guidance on the reduction in force and reorganization plans. Agencies should, all right, so it says here, it talks about no later than March 13th, agencies should develop agency reorganization plans. Okay? And it says that the agency reorganization plans should, among other things, reduce the budget, reduce the real property footprint, reduce a significant reduction in the number of full-time equivalent positions by eliminating positions that are not required. So by March 13th, government agencies have to submit their plans, including how to significantly reduce the number of positions. Okay. Also, continue to comply with the hiring freeze in the presidential memorandum of January 20th, 2025. No more than one employee should be hired for every 4 employees that depart. They want to agencies should use all available tools to carry out the president's directive. Including things like eliminating non-statutorily mandated functions through reductions in force, removing underperforming employees or employees engaged in misconduct, and continuing to evaluate probationary employees, reducing headcount through attrition and allowing term or temporary positions to expire without renewal, and other things. Each agency will submit a phase 1 reorganization plan no later than March 13th. The initial plan, the reorganization plan shall focus on initial agency cuts and reductions. Phase 2, agencies should then submit a phase 2 plan for review and approval no later than April 14th. Okay. And then agencies continue sending monthly progress reports each month from May 14th, June 16th, and July 16th. Nothing in this memorandum shall have any application to positions that are necessary to meet law enforcement, border security, national security, immigration enforcement, or public safety responsibilities, military personnel in the armed forces, for example, and there are some other carve-outs here. The U.S. Postal Service, Executive Office of the President, timeline. So the timeline for all of this, these firings, first reports from agencies by March 13th, planning, preparation, analysis up to 30 days, formal reduction in force notice period 60 days, shorting to 30 days with a waiver, then implementation and separation, final step. So, you know, it looks like in theory, maybe sometime after a month or 2 months, we would see more firings from this process. But remember, this is the government saying, hey, agencies, you need to make plans for, among other things, a significant reduction in the number of full-time equivalent positions by eliminating positions that are not required. So that sounds like significant layoffs. That sounds like significant layoffs. Thank you, Captain Jerry Donnelly. Captain Jerry Donnelly says, do more with less and still survive. I did that. Hassel DeHoff says, I didn't vote for any of this. Tevis Bush said Bill Clinton did the same thing. I'm not an expert on the Bill Clinton thing. The Bill Clinton downsizing of the federal government was done after it was approved by Congress. That is one difference. you can read about the Clinton move in National Partnership for Reinventing Government from Wikipedia, a U.S. government reform initiative launched in 1993 by Vice President Gore. Its goal was to make the federal government work better, cost less, and get results Americans care about. During its 5 years, it catalyzed significant changes in the way the federal government operates, including the elimination of over 100 programs, the elimination of over 250,000 federal jobs, consolidation of 800 agencies, In March 1993, President Clinton said he planned to reinvent government. Clinton signed to Gore with a 6-month deadline to develop the plan. The National Performance Review released its first report in 1993. That's also a difference, is that there was a commission that studied this for 6 months and then made recommendations after months of consultation with the government departments in the White House. Now, also, I don't know how many positions immediately were downsized, because as of 1996, Gore wrote the government had reduced its workforce by 24,000. Anyways, I got to read more on that whole thing. CBS News said that nearly 500,000 federal jobs were eliminated as part of the Reinventing Government program during the Clinton administration. Let's see here. Yes, in less than 8 years, CBS News says, that would ultimately trim the federal workforce by around 426,000. Again, though, I believe that the cuts were approved with Congress. And it took 6 months to make recommendations in that program. I need to read some more about it, though. Let's see here. How many have been cut so far with Trump this time? I don't know. I don't believe it has been publicly said by the federal government how many people have been laid off. I've seen it reported that around 75,000 took the buyout offered, although it's not clear how many of those people may have been planned. You know, every year a certain number of people leave their jobs in the federal government and or resign. So it's not clear how many of the people who said I'll take the buyout that was being offered would have left anyway. Thanks, by the way, to Yo-Yo. Anyways, I'm guessing we'll do more coverage of that in detail if things keep progressing with that. All right, here is what I'm going to do. Let me just do a quick check here. But it does sound like a significant number of layoffs in the federal government are coming. That's what it certainly sounds like. Our viewer Jarrett Nash says, why would we not want to attract rich, talented immigrants to be citizens while also discouraging poor immigrants from doing the same? Intellectual imperialism is a good path forward. Low-income workers could be provided by visa programs with no path to become citizens. That's what our viewer Jarrett Nash wrote in. A little background real quick on this gold card program from AP. President Trump said he plans to offer a gold card visa with a path to citizenship for $5 million, replacing a 35-year-old visa for investors. The Commerce Secretary said the Trump gold card would replace EB-5 visas in 2 weeks if there's not a legal challenge and it overcomes a legal challenge. EB-5s were created by Congress in 1990 to generate foreign investment and are available to people who spend about $1 million on a company that employs at least 10 people. For these new gold cards, you would not be required to create any jobs. Also, as I mentioned, I did see a report yesterday where it claimed that there may be legal problems for this because it might be argued that Congress is the only one who can eliminate the EB-5 program. Lutnick said the gold card, actually a green card or permanent legal residency, would raise the price of admission for investors and do away with fraud and, quote, nonsense. He said characterized the EB-5 program. It would include a path to citizenship. About 8,000 people obtained investor visas in the 12-month period ending September 30th, 2022. The Congressional Research Service reported in 2021 that EB-5 visas posed risk of fraud, including verification that funds were obtained illegally. You know, I don't know. The EB-5s required you to invest about $1 million to spend $1 million on a company that employs at least 10 people. So, I mean, if somebody had $1 million and they wanted to come into the country, how easy was it for them to just, create some, I don't know what the requirements were, but could somebody with a couple $1 million just create some business that they have no intention will ever be successful, just as a way to get in the country? Because if you have 10 employees and you pay them $40,000 a year, that's $400,000. So, I mean, I guess my question is, given that around 8,000 people obtained investor visas in the year ending September 30th, 2022, does that give a sign of how many people might be interested in spending $5 million to get a green card? Or is it that it'll be just, was it like very difficult for people to get this kind of visa? Were there lots of things they would need to do that would make it so that somebody just wouldn't be able to just kind of set up a business they had no intention of really working? I don't know. So my question is, what does this tell us about the demand for a gold card, which would in theory cost more money, assuming it didn't cost somebody $5 million to set up a business? So I don't know though. Maybe it would just be so much easier for people that way more people would be willing to spend $5 million for a gold card than $1 million to set up a business that hires 10 people. I just don't know enough about it. Investors' visas are common around the world, says AP. More than 100 countries around the world offer golden visas to wealthy individuals. While the number of EB-5 visas is capped, the Republican president mused that the federal government could sell 10 million gold cards to reduce the deficit. Congress determines qualifications for citizenship, but Trump claimed gold cards would not require congressional approval. That we'll have to see. It might go to court. Anyways. Nat Leo says gold visa is like Foxconn, never gonna happen. Our viewer, one of our viewers says, I'm an immigration lawyer. The EB-5 visa process is very rigorous and the investment amount has been increased to 1.8 million. Chris N says you have to apply and be accepted for EB-5 visa. Laura in Detroit says, do that many ultra-rich people want to get American citizenship? Again, President Trump said he thinks companies will buy them for their employees. HMN thinks Russian gangs are going to flood into America. Am I going to cover the SpaceX launch tonight? Possibly. Possibly. All right, guys, look. Thanks to the Polish drunk for your support, who says, everyone is having a fit. Federal employees are being laid off. They are subject to downsizing cuts like any public employee. The outrage is moot. That is what the Polish drunk said. Thank you to Yo-Yo for your support as well. I think what we're going to do is the following. Hang on a moment here. So we came on the air to cover the first Trump cabinet meeting because there was live video of it. We showed you it. If you missed it, basically, I think it was around 45 minutes of an hour, mostly of Trump answering questions. Yeah, it's about an hour, I think. So if you missed it, you can rewind and watch. I think I'm going to start wrapping up this stream. If there's big news today, we'll cover it. Maybe we'll have a stream covering. Oh, the SpaceX launch isn't tonight. No. I am not covering. If there's a SpaceX, the SpaceX launch that I would cover would be the Starship launch. But that's not, I'm not covering. SpaceX has a launch maybe tonight of Starlink satellites. I don't cover that. I believe on the 28th, Friday, there might be a SpaceX Starship launch. That I might cover. But I'm not going to cover the Falcon. The satellites launch. That wouldn't cover. Yeah. So Starship is what I would cover. I'm literally looking at Reuters that says SpaceX Falcon 9 launches next batch of Starlink satellites. Also, there's a launch. Also, NASA launches satellite on mission to detect water on the moon. I will not be covering that either. I'm not going to cover the launch just to cover the launch. That's a NASA launch scheduled for later today, but I will not be covering that. Maybe we'll cover the Starship launch, test launch. Okay, so I really appreciate you guys being here for our live coverage of the Trump cabinet meeting. We might do other coverage later today of different news, but thank you for being here, and also. Thanks for those of you who let me read your comments on the air, for participating in the chat, for sending me news updates. Thanks so much. Special shout out to Kay, who first alerted me that they were going to have, Kay Lowry Body, who first alerted me they were going to have a live video of this. I didn't realize it until shortly before. That the White House was promoting this. I figured if they showed a live video, it would be some short little thing, but then I saw that the White House was promoting it. And I was like, oh, I guess it's going to be more than a short little thing. So I'm glad we got to cover that for you. Anyways, subscribe and follow to the channel, if you're interested in seeing more of our coverage, we cover all kinds of live breaking news coverage. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda. Agenda Free TV. Subscribe and follow Agenda Free TV and turn on notifications. We have a notification system. It works awesome. It's free. You get notified whenever we go live. I can't tell you in advance when we're going live most of the time because I don't know when big news is going to happen. So make sure you sign up for the notifications. We do it through Discord. The mods will post the link in the chat to sign up for the notifications. You can also find the link in the description of this video on Facebook and YouTube. So sign up for those. And I will post news updates when I'm not on the air. And while I'm on the air. But for news updates when I'm not on the air, breaking news, I always post at my X account, @Lookner. Follow me there for breaking news updates. I will post the link in the chat. Hang on a moment here. Let's see. Where am I? Where am I? Here we go. Rita, our viewer, by the way, posted a comment, and our member. Longtime viewer Rita said, I think it's more that businesses will pay the $5 million to be able to bring people here without the hassle, as well as colleges and universities. But what about smaller ones? Thanks, Rita, for the post. For the comment. Thanks to everybody who wrote in with comments. Thanks to our moderators. You know, our chat rooms are a really important part of the channel, and we could not have them without our moderators. So I really appreciate all of our moderators being here and allowing us to have the chat rooms. Ruth Krafasi, for example, on YouTube. Janet B., all of our other moderators who've been over on YouTube today, thank you. Also, our ex-moderators like Linda Belk, Larry, Misha, our Twitch moderators, Big Ball of Yarn, I Got That Fire, Matthew Kohai 3, McBritches, Papa Bear, Surly Dev, big thank you. Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley over there on Facebook. Thanks to all of our moderators. And a huge thanks to everybody who donated. That's so nice of you. You are the ones who allow this channel to exist with your support. And so nice of you. I think I thanked everybody before. But really appreciate all of your support for the channel. If you ever want to donate, you can go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. But thank you for supporting the channel and letting this channel exist. Of course, I appreciate that because you are the ones that make it possible. So thank you. By the way, we also have a chat where you can chat with other viewers when we're not live on Discord. A lot of our viewers like doing the Discord chat. It's free. Check it out. It's the same link as the notifications link. So check out our Discord chat. And thanks for all you do to our Discord moderators. Another good way to find out when we're going live and other stuff going on with the channel, follow us on X. At Agenda Free TV on X. I post there every time we go live in advance. I post updates about the channel there. So follow us on X at Agenda Free TV. I'll post the link in the chat. And a reminder to those who watch on YouTube. If you watch us on YouTube, I would suggest turning the YouTube notifications on. Another good way to find out when we're covering breaking news. But it's a little weird to turn on the notifications on YouTube, how to do it. So I will show you how to do it right now. I'm going to show you how to do it. In a second, I will show you how to do it right now. Here it is. So what you need to do is subscribe to the channel, and then once you're subscribed to the channel, you have to click this bell and choose all notifications. Make sure if you're subscribed on YouTube, you have the bell checked and you've chosen all notifications. So you're getting our notifications. Okay, I want to thank our Facebook subscribers for your support. Sorry I didn't thank the subscribers a little earlier. I'll try to do that next time. But Eve Richards, Lou Green, for example, Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley, Diane Allworth, and all of our Sharon Klassen Goslin, Robert Real II, all of our Facebook subscribers. Thanks for supporting the channel. Oh, what is this? Hold on a second. We have to look up this. Oh, a viewer mentioned this. I missed this before. L.A., Los Angeles Public Health said public health has confirmed a measles case in a non-Los Angeles County resident who traveled to Los Angeles International Airport on a Korean Air flight on February 19th. Individuals who were at Terminal B from approximately 1 to 4 p.m. may be at risk of developing measles due to exposure to this traveler. Anyways, that came out yesterday. I missed that. Thanks for mentioning it to our viewer. I'm not aware of other cases that have arisen from that, but if a bunch of cases start arising there, I'll let you know. Let's see here. Thank you to our Twitch subscribers like Allistic and Massachusetts guy, Psyops, Shaggy, Wall Street, Matthew Kohai 3, Bogan 04, Big Ball of Yarn. Thank you for subscribing. Drunk Can't Cook, Mick Bridges, and all of our other Twitch subscribers. Thank you. And our YouTube members, Patricia Grace, Evelyn in Maine, Naomi Nocturno, Roger Shoemaker, to name a few. Pink Volo, thank you so much for being members and supporting on YouTube. Wickedest Witch, Beam Me Up, Rita, CAG813, Paula Faust, Ivan, Pat W, Ellie Lassetti, Nat Leo, Danny G, Chris N, Weaselman, Texas Annie, John, Babs, JetFan76, Mary McHugh2, Eric Johnson, and all of our other YouTube members. Thank you. By the way, Bitcoin has dropped. Bitcoin is now at 84,620. Wow, I didn't realize this. It is below 85,000. Something to keep an eye on. Okay. Thanks to all of our other viewers too. I really appreciate everybody watching. KK, Nick Nembus, all of our other viewers as well. NYC Subway Camera, Progressive Dub, and Paula Thompson, Jamie Rowland, Christy Claft, everybody else for watching. So we're wrapping this up. If there's other big news today, we will do a live stream. I really appreciate you joining us for our live coverage of the first Trump cabinet meeting. If you missed it, go back and watch it. You can rewind and watch it. It was like we had like an hour of live video, mostly Trump answering questions. Elon Musk spoke. It was a whole thing. Okay, that is it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon with more live coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.